Ika-22 ng Hulyo. Ako si Lorlyn Garcia Velarde, hatid sa inyo ang pinakamaiinit na balita sa bansa dito sa News Force.
Sa ulo ng mga balita, 59th ASEAN Foreign Ministers Meeting formal nang nagbukas. U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio nasa bansa na para sa 59th ASEAN Foreign Ministers Meeting. Karapatan ng bansa sa Ayungin Shoal, iginiit ng PCG. Higit sa 23 million peso frozen products mula China, nasabat ng BOC. NBI Director Attorney Matibag, nagpatuloy na tumestigo sa ika-9 na araw ng impeachment trial. Patas at pantay na balita, komprehensibong ulat para sa pulso ng masa. Ito ang News Force.
Formal nang nagbukas ang 59th ASEAN Foreign Ministers Meeting Martes sa PICC sa Pasay City. Pinangunahan ito ni DFA Secretary Maria Teresa Lazaro na siya ring ASEAN Chair. Kasalukuyang ginaganap sa bansa ang 59th AMM and Post-Ministerial Conferences and related meetings, kung saan dumating ngayong linggong ito ang mga foreign ministers ng mga member countries ng ASEAN. Ayon kay Secretary Lazaro, kailangan ang agarang pagsasagawa ng trabaho dahil na rin sa mga pandaigdigang mga kaganapan.
There is a profound urgency to our work, especially as we live in a time defined by what I call the 3 U's: upheaval, uncertainty, and unpredictability. As developments around the world continue to strain global peace, security, and stability, it is highly fitting to recall our theme for this year, Navigating Our Future Together. When we speak of navigating, we are speaking of wayfinding. True wayfinding does not rely on static maps of the past. It demands that we read the shifting currents of today to plot a safe course for tomorrow. It represents our commitment to active, deliberate problem solving, seeking creative solutions and viable pathways even in the most difficult situations and during the most complex discussions. We do not just drift with the tide, we steer the ship. As we chart the course, our most reliable anchor remains the Treaty of Amity and Cooperation in Southeast Asia, otherwise known as the TAC. Marking its historic 50th anniversary this year, we honor the fundamental principles we have successfully guided ASEAN for 5 decades: mutual respect for sovereignty, non-interference, and the peaceful settlement of disputes. These time-tested norms remain the bedrock of our regional stability, ensuring our code of conduct that stands strong against shifting global winds. We must continue this journey together because cooperation is no longer a choice. It is a strategic necessity.
Dumating sa bansa si U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio nitong Martes para dumalo sa 59th Foreign Ministers Meeting. Mahalaga ang relasyon ng ASEAN at Estados Unidos at sa Post-Ministerial Conference ihinihayag ni Rubio na ang Estados Unidos ay nakasuporta sa ASEAN ng 100%. Aniya, ang commitment ng Amerika ay nasa pinakamataas na antas. Kanya ding sinabi na ang Amerika ay nakatuon sa diplomasya at sa usapin ng gitnang silangan. Laging handang makipag-usap at makipag-ayos, subalit hindi ginagawa ng Iran ang kanilang mga napagkasunduan.
As President Trump stated last year at the leaders meeting, the U.S.-ASEAN at the summit, we're with ASEAN 100%. This is the primary mechanism by which we engage the region, and you will continue to see our commitment to it at the highest levels, including with our ambassador who recently came on board, and in addition to our ambassador here in the host country, who, by the way, have done a phenomenal job. Thank you for hosting us. We've fallen in love with your country. I visited here many years ago as a senator, but it's so much more fun to visit as a Secretary of State. But we appreciate that. I know how much work goes into putting one of these on, and you've done a phenomenal job, and we thank you. Before we get into the other topics, I know there's an area that's on everyone's mind, and it's what's occurring in the Middle East. And I just want to reiterate once again, the United States is always committed to diplomacy. We are open-minded and always willing to engage in negotiated settlements of differences. And that remains true in the case of Iran. Unfortunately, as of now, despite their direct outreaches, and Iran has been reaching out to the United States, both directly and indirectly, to engage in talks about settling the differences with regards to what's happening in that part of the world. Unfortunately, so far, even though we have reached agreements, they have not kept their commitments. And as the President stated earlier today, I guess, today Washington time, yesterday our time here now, the problem we're having right now is that they're not serious about talks. If they're serious, we're serious. If they're not, then we will do what is necessary to protect that, our interest and also the interest of our allies. At its core, it's very simple. Iran demands the right, which they do not have under any existing legal mechanism, to control the transit of traffic through the Straits of Hormuz. This is an international waterway. And of all the regions in the world, the one I don't need to teach about the importance of freedom of navigation in international waterways, it is this region. And if we create a precedent in the Middle East where a nation state can decide that they are going to control an international waterway, charge a toll, and if you don't pay them, blow up your ships, we have created a very dangerous precedent which will repeat itself in other parts of the world, including in this region. So what is at stake here is not simply the issue of what's happening in the Straits of Hormuz. It's a very fundamental principle about freedom of navigation. And if that is threatened, then I think the global economy is threatened, and the rules which have underpinned 150 years of international trade and commerce are also threatened. And that cannot be allowed to happen. But as I said, the United States remains open and willing to engage in positive, constructive negotiations and talks, so long as the commitments that are made are kept. And when those commitments are not kept, which is what's happened in this particular case, then there will be consequences. And that has to happen. If these consequences did not exist, then today we would be living in a world where the significant percentage of the energy supply of this region and 20% of the energy supply of the world is being held hostage by a nation state, by a rogue regime who intends to appropriate that and the right of tolling and controlling that shipping to itself, a right they do not have under any definition of international laws, particularly those that govern maritime transit. Now, I want to talk briefly about our partnership here in this regard as well. I'm proud to announce that the United States commitment is being evidenced to ASEAN is being evidenced by action. The United States is now going to, as we announced last year and have been following up in the year since our last gathering, leverage all available tools in our government to strengthen these relations, and that includes on the topic of foreign assistance. As part of that effort, we're delivering $2.5 billion in U.S. government strategic investments in Southeast Asia, reinforcing our commitment to the region. And we're investing because the development of ASEAN is also in the interest of the United States. This is not charity. This is not something we're doing because we're nice people, although I believe we are nice people. But it's in our national interest. Our partnership with each of your countries in the region at large, it's in the national interest of the United States. And we will never abandon it. No matter what else is going on in the world, no matter what our bilateral relations may be with other countries, we're a powerful country that has a global reach. And so we have to have relations with powerful countries with whom we have some disagreements. But that will never come at the expense of our alliances. It will never come at the expense of our partners, and it will never come at the expense of our national interest. And our relationship with each country represented here today is in our national interest.
Samantala, nag-courtesy call kay Pangulong Ferdinand Marcos Jr. ang Minister for Foreign Affairs ng Japan sa Palasyo ng Malacanang nitong Martes ng hapon. Nasa bansa si Minister Motegi Toshimitsu para dumalo sa ASEAN-related Foreign Ministers meeting sa bansa ngayong linggong ito. Malugod na tinanggap ni Pangulong Marcos si Minister Motegi at nagpasalamat ito sa matagumpay na pagtanggap sa kanya noong siya ay nagtungo sa Japan. Bilang tugon, sinabi naman ni Motegi na nais ng Japan na mahigit pang patatagin ang bilateral relations ng dalawang bansa, batay na rin sa Comprehensive Strategic Partnership na napagkasunduan noong bumisita si Pangulong Marcos sa Japan. Ayon kay Motegi, hangarin ng Japan Japan na palawakin ang kooperasyon sa larangan ng security at economy. Nagpalitan din ng pananaw ang dalawa hinggil sa usaping pangrehiyon at pandaigdigan. Kaugnay naman ito, dumalo sa ASEAN Post-Ministerial Conference ng 59th ASEAN Ministers Meeting si Minister Motegi at kanyang binigyang diin na layo ng Japan na mas lalong paigtingin ang relasyon sa ASEAN bilang suporta sa ASEAN Community Vision 2025.
To cooperate to promote and mainstream AOIP. Japan respects ASEAN's unity and centrality and will support further integration of ASEAN under ASEAN Community Vision 2045. Towards this end, Japan would like to deepen cooperation in areas that both sides have strong interest in, with large potential, including DX, AI, and GX. Japan and ASEAN have been trusted partners for over a half-century and deepened cooperation in wide-ranging areas. According to recent opinion surveys, Japan is considered the most trusted partner for ASEAN countries, which is a tremendous honor, and Japan wishes to continue this relationship based on trust.
Sa ating ulat panahon, apektado ng southwest monsoon o habagat ang Mindanao, Palawan, Western Visayas, Negros Island Region at Central Visayas. Habang naaapektuhan naman ng trough ang low pressure area ang Bicol Region at Eastern Visayas ayon sa Pag-asa. Inaasahan ng maulap na kalangitan na may kalat-kalat na pag-ulan, pagkidlat, pagkulog sa mga naturang lugar na maaaring magdulot ng pagbaha at pagguho ng lupa dahil sa katamtaman hanggang malakas na pag-ulan. Sa Metro Manila at nalalabing bahagi ng Luzon, posible naman ang bahagyang maulap hanggang maulap na panahon na may mga panakanakang pag-ulan o thunderstorms dulot ng localized thunderstorms. Nananatiling banayad hanggang katamtaman ang kondisyon ng karagatan sa iba't ibang bahagi ng bansa. Pinapayuhan naman ng Pag-asa ang publiko na manatiling alerto sa mga posibleng epekto ng masamang panahon, lalo na sa mga lugar na madaling bahain at magkaroon ng landslide. Susunod sa News Force. Karapatan ng bansa sa Ayungin Shoal iginiit ng Philippine Coast Guard. Higit sa 23 million pesos na halaga ng frozen products mula China nasabat ng BOC. NBI Director Attorney Matibag nagpatuloy na tumestigo sa ika-9 na araw ng impeachment trial. Manatiling nakatutok para sa higit pang mga balita sa pagbabalik ng News Force.